In this unit, what we are going to do is going through and reviewing the various strategies and question types that we've mostly covered in the previous 9 units. The more SAT-specific strategies that you know, the better off you will be, the easier the test will be. Throughout this course, you have seen many strategies being used. A lot of what we've done is to give you a mindset so that you understand how to break down choices. If you use our strategies effectively, you'll never have more than 2 choices. However, if you don't do all of the exercises, then you risk the danger of going in unprepared. And now we'll review the 7 main, most general types of reading questions to make sure that you've grasped them at the end of the course. Remember that the types of questions as we define them are only an approximation. Many types actually overlap in the content areas and skills that they test. So, as long as you are aware of each of them and remember the strategies, practicing them repeatedly as well as building a good habit, then you'll know what to expect in the test and your score will immediately increase. Okay, so here are the 7 main types of reading questions, often in this order. 1. Main idea or plot summary or main purpose. These types of questions ask about what happens in the passage or what the main idea of the passage or a particular paragraph is. Second will be a detail question, or literal comprehension question as we call them. These questions will ask about what is stated in the passage, and the answer can usually be found on a particular line. It's all about speed reading and scanning of a passage. The third type of question is one on organization, approach, or text structure. There are 2 purposes to this type of question. 1, it might ask how the passage is organized, meaning from what to what. And a typical question could be, during the course of the first paragraph, the narrator's focus shifts from, and then 4 options. The second purpose of the organization question is to ask what developmental pattern was taken by the narrator or by the author, especially what his or her approach is in developing his ideas or telling the story. A typical question would be, which choice best describes the developmental pattern of the passage? The fourth type of question is on vocabulary and context, and clearly we've covered this type of question extensively in our course, and here's a quick summary. Basically, it asks about the meaning of words as used in this particular context. The question usually provides line number where the expression occurs. And finally, what the student needs to do is to look for clues in the sentences before and after surrounding that sentence containing a word in order to derive the final and most exact meaning. A typical format for the question would be as used in line 1 and line 65. Directly most nearly means A, B, C, or D. The fifth type of question is one on function. Why a word, sentence, or an example is used. For instance, we have this question, the main purpose of the opening sentence of the passage is to. And then another reason for having a function question is to describe what effect a particular word, sentence, or example has upon the reader. It may ask what tone or mood is created. For instance, we have this question, the reference to shade and darkness at the end of the first paragraph mainly have which effect, which purpose. The sixth broad category of questions is called interpretation, or as we also know, inference questions. These can go from exact details with specific line references in the passage, or broad interpretations that the reader will need to derive from reading the entire paragraph or the entire passage. Essentially, these questions require the reader to read between the lines, to draw a conclusion that is not explicitly stated by the author. An example question could be, why does Akira say his meeting with Shir was a matter of urgency? In this question, we know that the particular incident happens around line 32. So the reader will have to read around the area and see what specific effect that incident has upon the progress of the narration. And finally, we have evidence questions, which ask where evidence for a detail or interpretation question, inference question, can be found in the passage. There are always 2 evidence questions per passage, so it's one of the most important skills you need to master. An evidence question would also provide check for accuracy of the previous detail or inference question, so there's a catch there. It's not that difficult once you've mastered the strategy. And now we have 12 strategies to make the test more user-friendly. 1. Start with your strongest skill. Since you can start with any passage you like in the reading test, start with the one that you are strongest at, with the discipline that you are most comfortable with. As we already know, there are 5 passages taken from either literature, classic contemporary, history and social studies, such as anthropology, economics, law, linguistics, political science. There's definitely going to be one from founding documents or great global conversation content areas, which are historically significant foundational texts, and others dealing with issues central to civic and political life. And then there'll definitely be 2 from the sciences, the natural sciences, including basic concepts or recent developments, theories in the natural sciences, such as biology, chemistry, and physics.